Now joining us, Steve Cleveland in studio to talk about BYU hoops. Cougars fresh off of a lost USC, but a comeback game with Weber State coming up tomorrow night. Coach, welcome back to Studio B.
Thank you. You know, I walked in today, I was a little bit concerned.
Why?
When I didn't see Spence here. He's kind of the calming influence of the show.
Well, we don't need to calm.
The two of you together is a little bit dangerous.
2017 football. We're too excited. The season's not even over.
Hey, we're starting the countdown, and this season isn't even over yet.
Yeah, come on. On missions, you don't want to count down with your missionaries, right? You're like, just focus on the work. How long you been out? Don't ask. Right?
They always know.
They always know.
They
8
always
months.
know.
Yeah. Let's talk about USC before we push forward. What was your biggest takeaway from that game, BYU against USC?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was that a team that went 1 for 17 could end up having a halftime lead. I think the thing that the explosiveness, the athleticism, the length, the pace of the game, I think it surprised BYU. And I think the thing that surprised BYU the most was the fact that they could play 10 or 12 minutes in a 2-3 zone and actually come back, take a lead, and kind of dominate the game. I think the biggest takeaway is we didn't take care of the ball. BYU did not take care of the ball. Those 16 turnovers led to 19 direct points. I mean, the guard-to-guard pass with LJ and whoever else was there, those led to direct line dunks. And that gave them their confidence, and all of a sudden they start knocking threes down. And BYU was just, they got caught up in the moment. They were just in a hurry. I think it was John Wooden who said, be quick, but don't hurry. And it seemed like every player was just in a hurry and out of sorts. And finally, in the end of that game, I think maybe with 9 or 10 minutes to go, Coach Rose goes 4 out, 1 in, plays 4 guards with Mika, and they got a little momentum. And things started going their way offensively because they could get to the rim. And so it's a game that I think the coaching staff talking to them feels like we let one get away. And even though at times USC was so dominant. But I think BYU had an opportunity to win that basketball game, but they kind of lost their composure.
As a coach, take us through going through a substitution pattern. Like that second half that we saw against USC, what do you think Coach Rose was trying to do there?
There's two factors here. The first factor is this. When you play 2 bigs inside, you immediately take away penetration lanes. They're not shooting the ball very well from the 3. All of the bigs were scoring inside. So you stay with that, but all of a sudden you get behind. How do we change the pace of this game? TJ Haws and Nick Emery didn't score in the first half. TJ ends up having 16 points. How did he score his points? When they put 4 guards, they opened the floor, and he was able to penetrate and attack the right side. And if there was help, he could dish off. But they didn't. He got it right to the rim. Mm-hmm. Because when they did this, both teams were in foul trouble. So people were a little more hesitant to foul.
And the lead was double digits at that point.
And it was double digits. Mm-hmm. But they got to the rim when the floor opened up. I'm not suggesting that's how they're going to play, but that, I think, was the mentality of the coaching staff. Let's open the floor up. We're not making shots from the outside. Mika's going to get his, but he can't get them all. Let's get Nick and TJ involved in the game, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I thought Dave Rose was just trying to mix it up to mix it up. He played 3 forwards. He only had 2 shooters on the floor for the first time in recorded history, I think. And Zach Frampton was in the game late. He was trying to give BYU every opportunity to get back in that game. BYU's lost 3 of 4, but what do you see them doing well right now that maybe they could lean on a little bit here?
I think coming into that game, the win at Utah State really allowed them to breathe. And I'm probably talking more about the coaching staff than I am the players. Okay, but it's like one of those. Okay, we can breathe a little bit, and they kind of restored their confidence. I think that the inside out is still really good. I think the challenge for BYU is how the guards adapt and learn how to play within that system and score in that system. And so I think they love what they're doing offensively. They don't love the fact that they're not shooting the 3-ball well, but I think it's a matter of getting used to it still. We see a lot of youth and inexperience on the floor at times, but I think through it all, I think the players probably are a little bit fragile, but they're a believing group. They've all had so much success in life that I think the one thing you can hang your hat on with this team is they're going to be together.
So what is the remedy for the perimeter shooting, specifically from the guards? Because right now, you've got the guards at 34% field goal percentage, 29% from three, and no guards shooting 40% or better. So how do you change that? What's the remedy to get that going?
Well, I think that you've got one experienced guard here that's actually played at this level, and that's Nick Emery. And I think the adjustment for Nick is that Nick is a free spirit offense. He's at his best when he's off the dribble. He can pull up and shoot it. All right. And when we play more inside out, sometimes there's questions: what's a good shot and what's not. And I'm confident that the coaching staff has established what a good shot is and what isn't. So for Nick, it is a little bit surprising. I think he's taken on upon himself a more of a leadership role. I think expectations. We talked about this last week. I think those things we just struggle sometimes when we feel like there are expectations, our own personal expectations, we're not meeting them. And you see the evidence of it when we get a little bit hesitant. We're a little bit hesitant when we're shooting the ball. With the other guards, they're all new. And you look at TJ, he's an outstanding player. He's a penetrator first right now. He showed that against USC. He's in a hurry on the floor. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And the coaches know that. He needs to settle down. He needs to breathe. He needs to let the game. Too many times does he have the ball up in the air, making decisions up in the air. That is the worst time to make decisions, whether you pass, whether you shoot, or whatever you're going to do. LJ got, surprisingly, even LJ in that USC game kind of lost his composure. 4 or 5, like I said, guard-to-guard passes that went for direct layups.
The pressure of Kobe Bryant's court was a lot for those guys to handle, playing in that game. Not all threes are created equal, okay? We see the percentage, but you talked the last couple weeks about, okay, don't fall in love with the three. It's good to learn to live without it and whatnot. Describe to us the kind of threes BYU is getting and maybe how they should get better looks from three.
I think the best three that they can get was demonstrated with LJ the other night, where they go inside, they convert, they double.
Utah State in the corner with LJ Rose?
Wide open. Now, USC didn't monster the post.
Meaning double.
Meaning Mika doubling a post. Mika goes for 29. All right? That's what happens when they don't double the post. He's going to get doubled against Weber State, by the way. I'm absolutely confident of that. Undersized team.
Make BYU shoot a three.
and make them shoot the threes at home. I think this is a game where there are going to be some wide open threes. I think that's the best way to get threes out of an inside-out attack. I wouldn't say this for everybody, but for Nick Emery, off the dribble, in transition, his feet are squared, shoot it. Don't think about it, shoot it, because that's what he really does well. And he's really crafty around the basket, but that's what he does well. With TJ Haws, I would say let's get it coming inside out. Let's get it one more pass, feet squared, let's shoot it. That's how you regain your confidence. Taking shots off the dribble for these younger freshmen is not the way to get their confidence.
You mentioned Eric Miko, 29 points, 9 rebounds, and watching that game, it was interesting. I kind of, since we're talking about the way too early expectations for the football and looking ahead to that, watching him play on an NBA court, I just kept thinking he's going to play in the NBA one day. What about his game has impressed you the most? And projecting to the NBA, where do you think his NBA skill or skills are right now?
The thing that I've liked the most, you look at a lot of 6'9", 6'8" to 6'10" players, they're playing on the perimeter at that level, all right? I love the fact that Mika can run the floor. He's got a motor that does not stop. And now the coaching staff has put him in situations, because of the double teams and so forth, he's in a situation where he can get it at the block, he can get it at the mid-post, and now they're isolating him up at the elbow, up at the free throw line extended for jumpers as well as penetration. So his offensive package is becoming much more diverse to adjust to defenses, and it's going to develop his game and prepare him to play at the next level. His next level thing, I wouldn't say right now, but he's going to have to eventually be able to knock that 18 to 19-footer down.
And he'll have opportunities, potentially even this season, to kind of flex out there. Let's talk big picture. You're not a coach anymore. You don't have to take one game at a time. We can look at the whole season, kind of the context. We love to talk about the tourney train and is BYU going to make the NCAA tournament and whatnot. I look at this Colorado game Saturday, and I called it a 99% must-win for BYU's non-con resume. How important is this Colorado game coming up Saturday?
It's really important. I think that, the Princeton game was an important game. They're 2-3 right now. All right, I don't know if they're going to win their conference. It seemed at the time that would be a really good, and it was a good win. That's a hard team to play against. But I think Colorado is a team that they've got them at home especially. And under those circumstances, in order for them to develop that resume, which people start talking about BYU right now, a win against Colorado really helped their cause.
Then you have Illinois the next Saturday. That'd be a game that would be nice to add. And then you're kind of done with so if you look at BYU's non-conference resume right now, it's pretty thin. So BYU needs that Colorado game. They probably need to get the Illinois game. And then out of the 4 regular season games against St. Mary's and Gonzaga, you think you need to get at least 2?
2.
At least two?
At least 2. Right now, I think that
that's making me sweat thinking about that.
And I will say this: I've watched Gonzaga now 3 or 4 times. They're really good.
Like Final Four good.
They are so athletic. They defend. They don't beat themselves. They don't take bad shots. Yes, Pronosky inside is a load and everything, and people wonder, can he run the floor and keep up with people? Well, you know what? They have people to replace him when he gets tired. And last year at this time when their guard play at Gonzaga was really weak and questionable, this year Perkins has been really special. They are a load. I think the difference between them, they have the athleticism that a USC has, whereas St. Mary's is more like Valpo.
Yes.
Very structured, can shoot it, smart, pass the ball, make the extra pass. They're a challenge in their own way as well. So BYU needs to beat them. And now the interesting thing is we know BYU's beat them Gonzaga twice on the road.
All they do is win in Spokane.
What in the world?
And which is amazing. But those are the games that are going to help them get into the tournament. They've got to win 2 of those 4.
Well, and playing off of that, I mean, when you look at this conference as a whole, knowing how good Gonzaga is and how good St. Mary's is the conference good enough that if you get a couple of those wins over those top 2 teams, with other wins in the conference, that you can overcome maybe some of the struggles in the non-conference?
Well, I think too is this. Let's go back to the good wins. What BYU can't have is a loss at Portland. They can't have a loss to UOP at home.
Do you think they can have a single one of those?
No. And
they've typically had
maybe one somewhere. Because what we don't know is you have 4 brand new coaches. We don't know how good LMU. We do not know how good UOP is going to be. We do not know Portland because they have different systems. Even the coaching staff right now is beginning to watch film and going, hey, they play playing a lot different right now. So there's a lot of unknowns with 4 new coaches. But I think they would have to be really careful. They can't lose any games at home to any of those teams. And then on the road, I think if you lost a game, that's understandable. But they need to beat St. Mary's and Gonzaga to really because they're both going to be somewhere in the top 15 probably in the country when they play them.
I think the pressure's on for this team, and the concern, I guess, early, and it's through 8 games, right? Barely over a quarter of the regular season, is that this youth, we're seeing some of the growing pains. Last week, you warned people. You said, hey, can we take down the Final Four, stop waving the Final Four banners? You made a lot of people cry, Steve, when you said that. But this team's young. They're growing. I think we're seeing maybe the lowest it could get in like the 2 or 3 years of this set. I don't know what you think about this period right now.
Let me say this. I think players press sometimes because of their own personal expectations, not because somebody on the radio or the TV thinks they should be doing something. They just believe in themselves. I believe that's where the hearts of this team are. They know that they're better than they are, and they start pressing a little bit. We do that. We all do that when things aren't going well. But the expectations of this team that we've already kind of documented is they are inexperienced. I don't even want to use the word young. Inexperienced is what I would say.
Because they're actually older.
Yeah, because they're not really young. They're all 20, 21, 22 years old.
Young in games played.
But game experience, they're very young. And you saw that against USC, where the pace and the frantic style of USC was overwhelming at times. And they got in a hurry. And then what happens? In the second half, they settle down, they relax, and they start scoring, and they get their wits about themselves. But it was certainly something that you're going to see. This team hasn't even gone on the road and played on someone else's court where you've got, well, in this league, 500 fans yelling and screaming. But if you're at Gonzaga or St. Mary's, those are different environments than playing in a neutral site. And I'll tell you this, the depth perception of playing in NBA arenas is never easy. So let's not judge this team on how they shoot in an NBA arena.
And they played in 2. Make it 3 next week,
Make it 3 next week. So it's adjusting. The Marriott Center is huge, but the people are right on top of you.
Yeah.
And those NBA arenas, they're empty, number one. Okay, there's very few people there, and the depth perception for shooting. That's why I believe I would love to shoot in the WCC gyms because it'd be just like high school.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, everything's tight, close, the rim seems right. You get into big arenas, sometimes for younger, inexperienced players, they struggle shooting there. Nick Emery's not one of those. I am absolutely confident that Wednesday night, Nick Emery will have open looks and knock him down in this gym.
I hit my first 3 in my rec league game at Provo High last night. So, yeah, I can,
Which is completely the same.
I can
It's completely the
sympathize
same.
with this plight. President Coach Cleveland, we appreciate the wisdom. The Mr. Rogers of BYU Sports Nation. You look good with that
I
sweater.
got a couple
That's good.
sweaters here.
That's good, man. It's sweater weather now. Thanks,
Yes, it
Coach.
is.